Clemson Sports Talk has come back to Drive Time. Hello, everybody. Lawton Swan back in the saddle. Once again, it is the show that shakes the Southland. Clemson Sports Talk for you each and every afternoon as you make your way around the great state of South Carolina and beyond, listening to us on incredible radio stations like Fox Sports Radio 1400 in the Midlands, around the world on the iHeartRadio application. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends and neighbors and your friends' neighbors about the show, especially those friends, neighbors who wear the orange and purple of Clemson Tiger Nation. Appreciate everybody being a part of the program every day. And again, headed towards 1,000 subscribers. We can't do it without you. Go over to our YouTube channel, ring that bell, push that subscribe button, step on up and be a part of what we do. Thank you to my buddy Rob Sanders for the fantastic lead in. Of course, you can follow Rob on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. Each and every day, the rundown 3 until 4 o'clock. All right, so it is the Ride or Die edition, hour number 1. Hour 2. Looking forward to this opportunity to talk with Jonathan Blau. He is the new beat reporter for the Post and Courier out of Charleston. He'll be on the show to talk about the Clemson Tigers. He's covering that Clemson beat, and we'll get his thoughts on what's been going on. Again, a strange year and a strange dynamic so far. Dabo Swinney was asked about the competitive nature of college football in 2021. We'll hear those comments coming up in just a little bit as well. But being the Ride or Die edition, we're going to hear some of what Matt Bockhorst had to say earlier this week also. Now, Bocky, as we affectionately call him, Bocky was pretty fired up, pretty juiced to the max. Essentially, and we talked about this yesterday, but without reading his quote verbatim, essentially said, look, man, I'll go to battle with this guy. I'll ride or die with number 5. Talking about Big Cinco, DJ Uiagalelei, whose stats so far have been less DJ Ooh-wee and more DJ Uiagalelei, right? I mean, at this point, has not been great. And so, a lot of times here on the program, we talk about relativity and how temperature is relative and how you're feeling about this team is relative. And I brought up the 2016 team. A team that fought through a lot of adversity early on in the year and went on to win a national title. Now, look, none of that guarantees you anything in 2021. Not an ounce of what happened in 2016 will do diddly for you in 2021. And while DJ Uiagalelei this year ranks 11th in the ACC in passing currently, again, behind Braxton Burmeister at Virginia Tech, Jordan Yates at Georgia Tech, Sam Hartman at Wake Forest, Malik Cunningham at Louisville, Derek King at Miami, Devin Leary at NC State, Gunnar Holmberg at Duke, Sam Howell at North Carolina, Kenny Pickett at Pitt, and Brennan Armstrong at Virginia, who currently leads the league. DJ Uiagalelei is 11th and would be undoubtedly behind Phil Jerkovic if Jerkovic had played 3 games. He's only played 2. And so from the standpoint of expectations, preseason, conversations about being the next big arm, taking over from Big Trev, the giant killer, like for a lot of people, the belief was that DJ was going to come in and just instantly click and things weren't going to drop off at all. And I don't blame you for feeling that way. Heck, I might even be part of the problem on that front. Because in all honesty, the only thing we have to really go off of is evidence. I mean, this is an evidence-based numbers show. And I don't like to get into the minutia of the numbers all the time. Like, you're not going to hear me coming in and going, man, can you believe that Will Shipley's rushed for 275 yards already? I mean, like, I couldn't even give you a ballpark figure at this point on what Will Shipley's rushed for. Like, I'm not a numbers guy. I go off of feeling and emotion of what I see. And what I saw from DJ a year ago against Boston College, and then really what I saw from him against Notre Dame, yielded me no reason to think that DJ's not going to be uber successful as a quarterback at Clemson. Were there some mechanical things that you might could go back and find? What, would Travis Etienne have had a fumble if it was Trevor Lawrence pitching that ball out to him at South Bend, Indiana? I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, there were probably some little things that happened in that ball game that Trevor would not have had happen under his watch because he's much more comfortable in the system. Trevor at that point was in his third year at Clemson. Trevor was the face of college football. And so this is a role that DJ has had to step into. And I would make the argument that Trevor Lawrence, his first year at Clemson University, when he assumed the role of the starter the week before the Syracuse game, got hurt, Chase Bryce saves the day, like all of that, right? All of that. He was certainly not the face of college football. Even after that, he was not the face of college football. And as he made a miraculous run and led Clemson into the national championship game against Alabama, the all-world best ever Alabama team that everybody expected to just go 15-0 and become known as the greatest to ever do it, before Trevor Lawrence hot knifed that team to the tune of 44-16 and hoisted the golden scepter for Dabo Swinney. Maybe in that moment, after that game, he became the face and became a front runner for the Heisman Trophy. Like all of that, yes, was he building towards it? I mean, like a great story arc, possibly. But that was still just building for him. Flip the script to DJ. 803-450-0086. You can call that number right now and say, Swanee, you don't know what you're talking about. Swanee, you have no idea what you're talking about at all. And I'll hear from you on that front. I know. You're probably sitting there right now trying to think of something good to come at me.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
But with that being said, DJ, by virtue of his performances a year ago, was like preordained to be this next big thing in college football. Think about the difference. And again, you could say to me, yeah, but Swanee, Trevor Lawrence's year 2, he led Clemson to the national championship game for a second time. People thought Clemson might go back-to-back and win 30 games in a row. And yes, I will agree. But where Trevor started his sophomore year versus where DJ began his, it's night and day. Night and day. DJ on the season, 51 of 86, 59.3% completion percentage for 475 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. Not out of the gates swimmingly. But the perception of what DJ was going to be relative to what you've gotten might be his biggest issue. Now, could you argue? Could you stand in the arena and go one-on-one with a great one and say, Swanee, mechanics are bad, footwork is bad, he's making poor decisions? Like, can you get into the minutia of all that with me? Yes, I can't really argue against it. But I can argue that if DJ didn't have the expectations that we placed upon him, if DJ were just another Johnny-come-lately at quarterback as a sophomore, taking over any old program, we might have a little more wiggle room available and readily available to him. Might grant him a little extra opportunities, to make mistakes before we are overly critical. And again, there is this other factor, too, that I think we forget. And as rough as it's been, and I brought this up the other day, maybe some of what he sees at practice has affected him, because I can't imagine having to be the guy that goes up against that Clemson defense on a regular basis. But I still have not gotten any reason or indication to believe that the Georgia Bulldogs aren't going to be one of the best teams in college football. Offensively, I don't know. Defensively, feels like it's close to being a certainty at this point. 803-450-0086. But I will present the conversation, if you will, that maybe DJ right now feels a lot worse than he actually is because of where we placed him out of the gates.
Well, sir, while I may not agree with what you say, I'll defend to the death your right to say it.
And I appreciate that. 803-450-0086, the Honey King of the Upstate. My man Kyle, Honey King Hooten, in the house today. Good to see you, Kyle, man. Thanks for hanging out with us. Corey says, let's go. Beat State. Told a funny story earlier in the week or late last week about, I believe it was in the Road Trips edition, about going up to NC State for a game. It ended up being in 1999. I had initially thought it was 97, but it was 99. Kyle wants to know what year DJ is. He's a sophomore. Technically, he could be a freshman. They got him listed as a sophomore, but with the COVID-19 stuff, he could technically get a year back, which means if DJ chose, and who knows, folks, maybe this is the bright spot about what's happening right now in 2021, because most of us, myself included, would have assumed that you'd get this year out of DJ and next year, and then you got to have his replacement. Now, I mean, if DJ keeps this up, I don't see any way he's gone after 3 years. Or after his third year, I would think that you would get a fourth year out of DJ. Again, this being year 2 currently. And technically, you could get an additional 5th year out of him based on the rules. But there is no question that this team currently lacks explosive plays. Maybe the most baffling and the most frustrating and the most embarrassing thing, and I can't imagine being a guy that's paid $8 million plus per year, or a guy that's being paid Tony Elliott's salary, $1.5 million, $2 million, whatever Tony's up to now. I can't imagine making that much money and having to walk into the arena and say, yeah, I got outcoached. I got outcoached for 60 minutes, and I didn't have an answer. We couldn't answer the bell. We won the game. We never had an answer. Clemson didn't beat Georgia Tech in Death Valley. They survived Georgia Tech in Death Valley. They didn't beat them. They survived them because Georgia Tech outcoached them. And Clemson was ill-prepared. And there hadn't been one reason given for me from a coach when I've asked about, well, what goes into it? Or how difficult is it to change those things on the fly? Not one thing they could say to me or any other member of the media changes my opinion about how bad it actually was. Well, we got a bunch of young guys and you're trying to, get those guys prepared for one thing and then they get another look. Guess what? Marcus Tate on the offensive line, guess what? He's played football a long time. You don't just walk in and all of a sudden you're a starter at Clemson University. Not to mention you had about a 2-hour break in the middle. Now, you might say, yeah, but that's not a lot of time. Well, listening to Dabo Swinney, yesterday they only get, I think he said 17 hours of time to prep anyway. So, to me, if 17 hours is what you have a chance to get prepared for, and then you get the fortune of having a long break because of lightning in the area, and you get 2 hours, the way I see it, you're getting about an eighth of the amount of time. How's that math, huh? How about your boy, huh? The Einsteiner, of course, in the house today. I can do that math. 00 sitting at home going, doggone it, Swanee got one that time. Double O, you'll never know. I might have done the math before the show just to get under your skin a little bit. But, I mean, you still had a good amount of time to get ready, and that's after you got some line of fire. Like, hey, man, here's the looks. Here's how we're going to deal with it. Not once. Not once. 803-450-0086. 803-450-0086. Again, Jonathan Blau. Blau. From the Charleston Post and Courier joins us in hour number 2. Roddy Jones will try to be on with us tomorrow. He's doing the daddy duty deal. Hashtag been there. Hashtag done that. I think most of us have at this point. Matter of fact, man, I was thinking yesterday, talking with some friends about their kids and all, and they got some young kids, and the nap time and kids playing in the sprinkler and things like that. And I'm like, I'm talking about literally napping on their mom's chest, like laying down and taking a nap in the sun. And I said, man, I miss those days. And they said to me, it's funny. Everybody says they miss those days. They're like, except for us, we're kind of ready for them to be gone by now. But believe me, if you're a new parent out there, soak it in, man. It goes way too fast. Wait. 803-450-0086. Text line, phone line. Again, we're live on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. If you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you are on YouTube, go hit that subscribe button. Would love to get you subscribed to us. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before Game 6. I didn't think we'd make it. I feel like we got a chance now. See you Tigers win. Listening to the show in Germany today. It says, go Tigers. See you Tigers win. What part of Germany are you in? I mean, are you at a base? Are you in an army base? Are you just living over there? I mean, if you're living over there, then I guess Guten Tag. How'd I do? Did I nail that? Did I do that right? I don't speak too many languages. One, really. I speak a little bit of a lot. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of a lot. See you Tigers win over in Germany. Says DJ just needs to slow his heart rate down. Let the game come to him. He'll be okay. This is a good point that you bring up. And I kind of said this earlier this week, and I'll get your thoughts on it. Do you agree with this statement? I mean, DJ running the ball early in the games is probably positive because it kind of gets your adrenaline going, kind of gets you in the mood, so to speak, for the game. Takes a little of the nervousness off. Like I've heard a lot of players talk about, you get hit, and I brought this up maybe Monday. You get hit, and then boom, you're feeling good. You're feeling like you're a part of it. I mean, maybe that's the thing. Give him a carry early. I'm not saying get your bell rung, but get hit a little bit. Kind of wake him up. 803-450-0086. Text line, phone line. All right, so listen. Matt Bockhorst. Man, it was great to interview him at the ACC kickoff. By the way, if you didn't watch our video of our YouTube video of the no-brainer NIL deals, go check out the one about the Matt Bockhorst bratwurst. Fantastic stuff on that front. We give you a whole list of them. That's on the YouTube channel where you are going to be a subscriber, right? Right? Thank you. We'll get to Matt Bockhorst comments. Plus, I got some texts coming in. HD and Charlotte text in the program. Plus, your thoughts as well when we get back here on the show that shakes the Southland. You are locked in to